Hello and welcome back to my channel. We are going to jump right into the question that is going to guide this video, which is help. My students simply will not expand their sentences. And this is something I hear all the time. How do we get them to push past that 1 to 2 sentence mark before they're tapping out and saying, my hand hurts, I'm over this, I don't know what to do. And so if you are ready for some strategies that will help to get at this problem, then keep watching, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you right back. Okay, welcome back. So long story short, most of the answers to questions like this are going to be syntactic awareness. This is so powerful. If we spend more time helping students gain syntax skills, it is going to serve them well in so many areas. So let's get into it. So syntax is essentially when we understand how language goes together. It's the ability to say whether or not something makes sense. So if you're reading something or if you hear language and you are thinking, ooh, something about that doesn't sound right, that means you have syntactic awareness. And so one of the most powerful things we can do is help our students develop syntactic awareness, because the research is off the charts for how effective that is when it comes to reading comprehension, writing solid sentences, which turns into solid paragraphs, which turns into solid writing. It is just one of those things where it's so powerful. And the most beautiful thing about it is the fact that it's so easy to do. So I have syntactic awareness daily warm-up drills that I will put right here. I've got them kindergarten through 5th grade. If you want to see more about that, I've got some other videos on this page about syntactic awareness that I'll tag in the description box below, and you can really dig into that. But essentially there are 9 different routines that I cycle through, and each one of those routines is research-based, and it is something that is going to help kids develop a grammar ear, and it's really powerful. That's great, and you can check that out. But this video, I want to talk about a different syntactic awareness routine that's a lot of fun, it's really powerful, and it can stretch out over maybe like a week. If you do it 3 times a week, you can do it small group, you can do it whole group, and it's a lot of fun. So for this syntactic awareness routine, it revolves around photographs, and these photographs are going to be thought-provoking or interesting or beautiful or curious, and you're going to show them to your students. And if you look along the side of the picture, it says who, what, when, where, why, all the things. And this is actually a syntactic awareness routine on its own, just going through and identifying who, what, when, where, why when it comes to writing. That is actually a really powerful strategy to develop syntactic awareness as well. But for this activity, let's just say we're doing this whole group. So I would display this picture and I would just ask the students to simply study it. Just take a look. And after they've studied it for, a few seconds, then I'm going to ask them to start answering those questions. And I'm going to say, who is this about? And let them just kind of say, oh, well, what's happening? What kind? I'm going to ask them to get as specific as possible. Then I'm going to collect what they're saying on a little chart right here. This is something you can put in a sheet protector or something that you can reuse. And I would have them tell me everything that there is to know. And I'm collecting vocabulary. The reason I'm collecting the vocabulary that they're saying is because they're going to have to write a sentence that uses a lot of these words. And so this is going to be really helpful. So I'm collecting the vocabulary as they're talking through who, what, when, where, why, all the things. So once we get that done, really that can be the end of the session, because anything I do for syntactic awareness, I'm looking to get it done in about 10 minutes or less. And so you can do this all in one sitting, or you can put it away and say, okay, that's all we're doing for today. Put it away on Monday. Maybe on Wednesday, you pull it back out and you show the picture again, you get the words out, and the students are thinking, oh yeah, that's that picture of that squirrel, and he was looking so funny and curious and surprised and all the things. And then you're going to move into the next phase of this activity, which is to create 3 sentences based on what they see in the picture. So you can see here in my example with the squirrel, maybe the students came up with, the squirrel is surprised. The squirrel heard a noise. It's climbing a tree on a sunny day. Okay, so those are maybe the 3 sentences that the students pull out. Great, put it away. You can pull it out the next day and you can move on to the next section, which is again another syntactic awareness routine. The strategy is called sentence combining, and that is where you take multiple sentences and you figure out a way to put them all together while maintaining the integrity of each sentence, but in one sentence that is grammatically correct. So it takes some finessing. Like kids have to kind of figure out the best way to put these sentences together. And so you are going to have them do it individually on whiteboards or sticky notes, and then they can read out their sentences, and you can either use one of theirs or you guys can co-create it as a class. But maybe the students will say something like, the squirrel was surprised because it heard a noise while climbing a tree on a sunny day. And that can go a lot of different ways, right? You can say, while climbing a tree on a sunny day, the squirrel was surprised when it heard a noise. So that is the power of syntactic awareness, because the sentences can go together in multiple ways, and it's not about being right or wrong. It's about what makes the most sense, what's the most clear, and just the really cool conversations that come out about grammar are really powerful. So then the final step to this is to rewrite that sentence that has now been combined into one sentence, and you do a final syntactic awareness routine, which is called switch a word. And so basically you would take that sentence and you would ask the students to pick 2 words to swap out, and it still needs to have the same meaning, or it still needs to make sense. Okay. Now that's the strategy, right? So you can see how you can really chunk that up into multiple days. If it's a small group situation, have the kids come to the table, do a little piece of it, send them on their way. And then by the end of the week or the end of that work session, then the students have done a lot of work with that picture, and it's a really great routine. And why am I telling you this? How does this help extend sentences? Well, because most of the syntactic awareness routines, and the more comfortable they become doing exercises like this, the easier things like revision, sentence expansion, all those tricks become strategies for students to continue writing. So if you have a student and they have written down one sentence, but they have been doing activities like this over time, you can say, oh my goodness, I love what you wrote, that one sentence. I'm wondering, can you turn it into 3 sentences? Or if they only wrote 2 or 3 sentences, ask them to combine it into one sentence. Once they have that, say, oh my gosh, that's so great. What's another way you can take that sentence up another level? Maybe they can switch a word. Maybe you need to break that up because the sentences are too long, and maybe you need to break it down. So what these routines really do is it gets the student to think about how they're putting their ideas on the paper, and it gives them more options. And when you have more options, then you may not mind playing around with your writing as much as you would have if you were just thinking, I wrote one sentence, I don't know what else to write, I don't know what this teacher wants from me, I'm done, right? And so giving them these strategies, the daily practice for syntactic awareness, that is going to be one of the quickest ways to get students to really dig in and push past writing just a few sentences. But it doesn't happen without repetition. If you're doing these routines every day and you're making it very clear, very explicit that these are routines that we're practicing, not so that we get good at syntactic awareness, we're doing this so that we become stronger writers, and that all of these exercises are to help grow that muscle so that when you're writing and you want to make your writing better, or you want to improve it or increase the volume of what you're trying to say in a meaningful way, you have some strategies to pull on. A lot of time, kids simply just don't have strategies. And the moment we make those connections with them and we show them, like, all these things we're practicing, you need to use them. And you're modeling that as the teacher. Once all those things start to come together on a consistent basis, your students will begin to perform. All right, so I hope that quick little strategy there helps. That activity is something you can easily create on your own. All you need to do is go find an image online. The more interesting, the better. And remember, phase 1, have students write 3 sentences about it. Phase 2, take those 3 sentences, turn it into 1 sentence. And then phase 3, take that 1 sentence and have them switch out 2 words so that it still makes sense. And that is going to be the routine that you can do all the time. If you would like some ready-made sets, then these are a part of my Reimagine Writing program. They're already included in there. It comes with a pack of 30, so it really take you through most of the school year. If you wanted to do one per week, the recording sheets are there. There's an intermediate version if you're more like second, third grade teacher, and there's a primary version for the younger students. And it is just a strategy that is really, really powerful, and I hope you give it a try. If you have a question about writing, or if something is just really bothering you when it comes to writing instruction, and you would love to see a video in the future, go ahead and leave a comment below. I am monitoring those closely because I want to be able to help where I can. And I'm so glad that you were able to join me for this video. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, make sure you don't miss a video. We put out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday, so you want to make sure you don't miss a single one. And I will see you next time. Sounds better to you.
And.
Ooh, okay, let's talk about it. Who thinks and? I think and sounds better. Why?
And.
Tell me why.
Because I use and in the sentence.
Yep.
Like my cat and me play together.
Okay, so you're saying that's a word that you use to put some thoughts together. Who thinks but is actually the better word to use in this sentence? Yes.
For like, baking is not like baking is fun, but not really relaxing.
So what are you trying to say with that? I think I know what you're trying to say, but what are you trying to say?